Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be looking at the 10 most broken brawlers inside of Brawl Stars history. So all the way back from the beta days up until present time, I'm going to be giving you guys my personal opinions on what has been the most broken brawlers inside of Brawl Stars. So let me know also down in the comment section below what you think of my ranking at the end of the video. And also, before we get into today's video, make sure you're using the creator code in the shop. Mine would greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Alright guys, so moving into the 10th most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars. It's actually split between B and Colt. I couldn't quite decide who is the most broken one. I probably would honestly say Colt was probably a little bit more broken. But anyway, both of them in unison were absolutely insanely broken. When the new gadgets came out for both B and Colt, both of them just completely broke the meta. So Colt, with a silver bullet, it dealt 3k every single time you hit one. And this meant in a lot of engagements, you could just 3k them through the wall and just finish them off so easily with a nice few next like couple of bullets, and they'll be literally dead. It was just absolutely insane. And with B as well, with her gadget, they changed it and they actually made it even better, even though they were trying to make it worse, I believe. And then there was like 3k damage to all lanes. So basically, it could win you like your mid and your two lanes with one press of the green button. It was just such a broken meta. And this meta, I believe, was towards the end of last year, towards the beginning of this year. It was just so crazy broken. Alright guys, so moving into the 9th most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars, I think it was El Primo. Just before the emergency nerf change. So with El Primo and most, well, about 4 tanks, they had a trait change, and basically with about 12k damage that they take, they get a free super. So with El Primo, once he gets his super before the obviously the change, it was a really good brawler, but the struggle was getting that first super. So this enabled him to get his first super so fast, and you basically instantly charge your super once you get it again. It was just crazy broken. Literally the whole meta just revolved around insane tank counters. It literally had Colette in every single comp, because obviously literally the only brawler that could deal with El Primo consistently. I just feel like this honestly could be put even higher on the list, but we didn't really have a chance to experiment too much with how crazy OP he was. But honestly, he's still pretty much game breaking now with the last change. El Primo was insanely broke. Alright guys, so now moving into the 8th most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars, we have Shelly. Once her new star power Band-Aid got released. So I'm using some gameplay from Bobby. I'll put his link in the description for this anyway, because I didn't used to do YouTube over here. I never used to record my own content back then, so I didn't have all of this OG kind of gameplay. But yes, when Band-Aid got released, Shelly was by far the best brawler in the game. I remember competitive around then. I think it was around 2 years ago now at least, and every single competitive game that was played, I think for a good month, Shelly was banned. It didn't matter the map, the mode, Shelly was absolutely insane. So the main reason for this was once Shelly went below 40% of her HP, she would then just fully heal up every 20 seconds. Every single 20 seconds, Band-Aid obviously replenished, and she was just invincible. Shelly just used to be able to deal with everything. It's kind of crazy to think, right? Because ever since they then nerfed this, Shelly has always been one of the worst brawlers in the game. And yeah, there was a time where Shelly used to be insanely broke. Alright guys, so moving into the 7th most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars, we have B with a honeycoat star power. It was such a broken meta. It was so insane. You've actually got some, this is one of my first videos on my main channel. So I think it was at the beginning of 2020 when this happened. But basically, with its star power, upon every single respawn, you got it again. So you could literally cheat death every single time you respawn. You're essentially giving yourself 2 lives with every respawn, which is just crazy, right? Especially with a brawler like B, it was just crazy. She was the best brawler in the game by far. She was just used absolutely everywhere, and I just can't believe this was even a mechanic. And especially in a game mode like Showdown, like this star power even got nerfed, and even though it wasn't even good in 3v3 mode, it was obviously still then a really strong star power in Showdown, and obviously it had to be removed from the game eventually. But yeah, this star power was crazy broken, cheating life. It was just so good. Okay guys, so the 6th most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars, I believe it is Stu, right? So Stu has been a crazy OP brawler ever since his release, but upon release, he had 4,480 HP. He still obviously took one shot to get his super, but he had the ability to knock back a brawler, which was just crazy insane. Like even the brawlers that used to counter him, like the tankier brawlers, he could easily just dash into them, knock them back, dash out, knock them back again, and just constantly cycle his super over and over again. It was just such a crazy broken mechanic. They even nerfed him, and obviously Gasser Hill I think came out, and Gasser Hill the better star power right now. He just constantly heals with every single super. He can deal up, well, he can heal up to 1,000 per ammo, which is just crazy. He's just dashing around. His mobility is just such a broken mechanic, and it's just crazy. And his new gadget has been released as well, which is making him even more broken in the current meta. So Stu as a brawler has had his fair share of time in the spotlight, and is definitely in need of a nerf pretty soon. Okay, so next up at number 5, we have Amber. Upon her release, she was just crazy broken. I believe we still have the world record for the fastest ever rank 35. Me, KC, and Tom pushed Amber in, I believe, like 7 hours to rank 35. It was just crazy insane how strong she was in the meta. So she still is pretty broken now, especially with her auto aim mechanic. People didn't really realize that upon release, and she was still crazy broken. Imagine if people realized straight away that just holding auto aim would just equal a free win. It's just absolutely insane. She used to do 336 damage. She used to have a fast movement speed. Her ammo used to reload faster as well. There's been several nerfs to Amber, you got to remember it as well, and she was just crazy broken. You just could not escape her. Her super was just so toxic. He used to get it back so quickly as well. Just everything about Amber was just insane, right? The mechanics still to this day is still a thing, one of the most broken things inside of Brawl Stars. And yeah, I just never want to go back to her release again. It was just a terrible time. Alright guys, so now jumping into the 4th most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars, it is Sprout upon release. He was absolutely insanely broken. Just looking back at this gameplay for the first time in a while, I'm just realizing, like, how did Overgrowth ever exist? How easy it was to hit these shots consistently for around 1.4k damage. And the fact that on Brawl as well, you could essentially spawn trap the whole enemy team. It was such a crazy time in Brawl Stars. Like, literally, you could spawn trap them. Even on respawn, they couldn't break that wall. It just meant once you get one super up inside of their goal, it just meant a free goal. It was insane. You just could not counter this brawler, and it only took 4 shots to get that wall as well. I'm not too sure. Can't really remember whether you could place more than one wall. That might actually be a thing as well. I think you actually could place more than one wall right there. You'll have to correct me in the comment section below, but yeah, I just remember Sprout being uncounterable for such a long time, and it was such a super toxic meta. I think it was a meta where Ems and Jackie was super strong as well, and yeah, you can even see in the gameplay, you can place 2 walls at the same time. This brawler was just insane. He used to be able to snipe you across the map, so yeah, he's going to be the 4th most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars. Alright guys, so now moving on to the 3rd most broken brawler inside of Brawl Stars history. It's got to be the Surge split meta. So when Surge first got released into the game, his normal shots used to split, which was just absolutely insane. Once he got to that final level with Surge, he was pretty much untouchable. It was just so crazy how this kind of mechanic was even allowed in the game. Basically, for a long time in the meta as well, because I believe Supercell went on their extended break. So literally, when Surge came out, it was just crazy broken. There was literally a meta for, I believe, at least a month long, where it was just Mr. P, Gale, and Surge. And if you didn't have a Surge on your team, you'd basically lost, because this brawler could 1v3 at certain points. You can see with the gameplay on the screen, the split shot was just crazy. A lot of times you could get like up to 3k damage so easily on some of these brawlers. It was such a fun brawler to play. I really do love playing Surge, but at the same time, it was incredibly toxic, because just his normal mechanic, even when he was a level 1 brawler, he could shoot around walls. It was just crazy to think that this even existed. So he's going to be the 3rd most broken brawler inside of Brawl Stars history. Alright guys, so moving into the 2nd most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars, it has to be Leon on release. He was absolutely crazy. Unfortunately, again, I haven't got any gameplay. There's actually some gameplay on Alexa's channel. I still can't find much gameplay with his star power upon release. Obviously, around this time, there weren't too many people making too much content, but I just remember unlocking Leon, maxing him out straight away with a smoke trails inside a showdown, and I literally got him to 500 within like an hour. It was just crazy how broken he was upon release. And the most broken thing about him was that his invisibility had no indicator. Like, obviously now, once Leon's close to you, it's going to come up with an indicator. There was no indicator back then, so literally you could run up to an enemy, be literally on top of them, and they still wouldn't know you're there, which is just kind of crazy. He used to cycle so quickly, deal 700 damage per shot up close as well. He used to just absolutely destroy everything, and that Leon meta was crazy. It was for a long time as well, even after there was like an emergency nerf with Leon. Even after he got nerfed, nerfed. I just remember in 3v3 modes as well, he was just used in every single composition, and Leon's used to just basically turn around the game so quickly. And I even remember back when I used to compete as well, that there was literally a period where I would only play Leon inside of scrims every single game for like a month in preparation for my first LAN. It was just crazy how OP he was in that meta, and it was definitely a super toxic trait with that invisibility, so I'm kind of glad that Leon isn't as strong as he once was. Alright guys, so jumping into the most broken brawler in the history of Brawl Stars, I believe it is Rosa upon release. So I believe this was around April 2019 time, so a lot of you guys might not have even been able to experience this, but this was honestly the most toxic meta in my opinion. I remember upon release, I think I just stopped playing Brawl Stars honestly for like a week until Rosa got nerfed. She was just insanely broken. She had an 80% shield reduction. It lasted for 6 seconds. Her star power healed her for 300 seconds as well. Literally all ladder would consist of is Rosa versus Rosa, just constantly get super after super, and they just wouldn't die. They honestly would be going on a battle for like 2 minutes of the game, and both of them would still be alive by the end of it with like a Poco healing them behind. It was just the most insane, bizarre meta I think I've ever experienced in my life in Brawl Stars. Again, I just remember just going everywhere, every single game mode. It used to just be Rosa supers just everywhere. It was so crazy to even think that they would introduce a brawler like this, especially considering how long their shield lasted, like 80%, 6 seconds. Like, who actually thought of that idea? It completely broke Brawl Stars, and I'm so glad they actually fixed it after a little while. They honestly, we didn't even emergency nerf it, I don't believe. It was just such a strong mechanic, and the fact that there was no gadgets or no real tank counters in the meta, even brawlers like Shelly just could not deal with Rosa whatsoever. It was just crazy broken. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this one. A little bit different from the normal content I do on this channel, so if you like this type of content, comment down below what type of videos you want me to do in the future. But I thought I'd do this type of video because again, there's not really too much to do in Brawl Stars at the minute. Everyone's just waiting for this update, waiting for Brawl Talk whenever that is, and also I kind of thought I'd do it because with the Brawl Pass, when a new brawler comes out, obviously with the Brawl Pass, a lot of the times they tend to be kind of insane, one of the best brawlers inside of a game. So I thought I'd take a look back and see how broken some of these brawlers were. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.